Some hae meat and canna eat, and some would eat that want it. But we hae meat and we can eat, so let the Laird be thanked. Hello guys and welcome to By the Way in Inglés. My name's Alistair and what you just heard there was something called the Selkirk Grace. And the reason why you probably only understood meat, 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 eat, eat, eat is that this was said in a language from my native country of Scotland called Scots. Pero ojo, Scots has nothing to do with Scots Gaelic, which is truly unintelligible to English speakers and belongs to the Celtic language groups. Instead, Scots is a descendant of Old English and has been spoken in Scotland for over 1,000 years. However, the Scots language will be the topic of another video. In this video, I want to focus specifically on the story of the grace and how it can be interpreted. What is the Selkirk Grace? The Selkirk Grace is a very common way of giving grace before a meal in Scotland, and although the majority of people in Scotland are no longer religious, it is part of tradition to say it before a meal of particular importance. Now, the records show that this grace has existed in Scotland for at least 300 years, known as the Galloway Grace or the Covenanters Grace. However, it was popularised by Scotland's national poet Robert Burns, who most of you will indirectly know for the Scottish folk song he also popularised, which I will attempt to sing at the end of this video. Anyway, he famously recited the grace at a dinner in 1794 in Kirkcudbright. Yes, Kirkcudbright. Also present at this meal in Kirkcudbright in 1794 was Dunbar Douglas, the 4th Earl of Selkirk, and it is from this occasion that the grace became known as the Selkirk Grace. What does the Selkirk Grace say? Okay, so there are a few variations of the grace, but we're going to be looking at the one I grew up hearing, as the variations aren't all that different. What we're going to do is translate it into English first and then interpret it. Here, the first line is, some hae meat and canna eat. In English, this translates to, some have meat and cannot eat. So we can see here that this sentence is not too dissimilar to English. In the case of hae, this means have. However, most people in Scotland today would say have or have, most likely due to the influence from English. In the case of canna, this is the regular form of negation after a modal verb or auxiliary verb. Do not is dene, have not is havne, will not is willne, etc., etc. However, this sentence is still a little strange. Some have meat and cannot eat. So, we're going to have to consider the historical context in which the grace was composed. First of all, until the 1800s, even in English, the word meat was used to mean food. It was one of those words that the Vikings brought over in the 1800s, and the Scandinavian languages still use the cognate mat or med to refer to food, and yes, that's how they say it in Danish. Second, how can you have food but not eat it? Well, the southwest of Scotland is a very rustic place, full of farms, and a big reality for farmers, at least historically, was that each winter they had to resist eating all of their animals and grain, otherwise they would have nothing to eat the next year. Okay, now on to the second line. And some would eat that want it. Literally translated to, and some would eat that want it. Here again, we have to consider the older meaning of the word want, which was to lack in, or carecer de. And we can still see this old meaning in the very popular expression, waste not, want not, which I've seen being translated as, no malgastes y nada te faltará. The third line goes, but we hae meat and we can eat, which we can translate to modern English as, but we have food and we can eat. Nice and easy. And the final line is, se let the Laird be thanked, which we can translate to, so let the Lord be thanked, and into Spanish as, así que demos gracias al Señor. Here there are 2 points of pronunciation. You'll see that the O of Lord is the E in Laird, and you can hear this O as in E in other words such as most, more and floor, which in Scots is still pronounced maist meer and flair. You can also see the I being pronounced in thank it. However, to the best of my knowledge, most modern Scots would pronounce it thanked, just as in modern English. Well, once again, thank you very much for watching, and I hope the content of this video will serve as a nice icebreaker if you ever have the pleasure of running into a Scottish person in the future. Please like, please subscribe, and please share. It will really help getting this channel going. And as promised, here's that Scottish folk song I mentioned earlier with the lyrics written by Robert Burns. Should all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should all acquaintance be forgot and old lang syne? Fair old lang syne, my Jo, fair old lang syne. We'll tak a cup o' kindness yet, fair old lang syne.